Turn that just a little bit. There we go. All right.
You guys know how we have to do this.
Oh boy.
So.
Good afternoon.
Hello, hello, hello.
And
we forgot one phone.
Forget what phone did we forget?
The iPhone.
Oh,
but we're on all the social media things that we need to be. Yes.
Okay.
It's too much you have to remember.
Okay.
So today we are coming live on Facebook through our business page, and we're going to start doing this every week because we do have different pages, and so we get confused and people get confused as well. So we might not have a good turnout on our business page because everybody's used to seeing us on our personal page. So we do have to start working our business page. So either way, hola, how's everybody
Hola.
doing?
Hello everybody. This is what is it, Wednesday?
It is Wednesday.
Man, I'm not feeling too good here today. I think I ate too fast.
We did.
Right,
We've had a very busy Wednesday. So I was telling Mr. Odin that
Busy Wednesday.
Well,
that's right. That's right. Excuse me. I got sunburned. Excuse me.
Yeah, he was tanning at the pool with the grandson. Well, I was working because one of us does have to work, which is me. So yeah, his life is so rough. So I was telling Mr. Odin that I think we should turn this into a lunch and learn and start doing this on at lunchtime. So we'd like feedback and see what you guys think. Reason being is because we're busy. We're busy in the evenings. It's really when we get the most work done. And then the marketing that we do, the networking actually, it's done in the evening. So it's a lot of time. We cancel our other events to do this. And then, this event is fun. I mean, we like to interact with you guys, but it's not really cost effective. It's just fun. I mean, this is like relaxing for us, and this is that one time that we really get to do, just like a one-on-one with you guys, and be able to just have a chance to reconnect and just really not have to think about, the business, and we're actually giving back. This is what we believe. So, and it is fun, and so, but then we are not able to work the business. So we're thinking about doing a lunch and learn. So let us know, anytime between 11:30 and 1 o'clock, we could do this. And then that way the people that are working, they could also participate. As you guys know, that we do train for the state of California, the law enforcement, and so they're not able to participate because they don't want to do this on their off time. They'd rather do it while they're getting paid. So, and that is who we do service. So let us know, because we still want to be able to play with you guys and have a good time and get your feedback. And I know the girls and I, we get all silly when we talk about relationships and parenting and things like that. And we still want to be able to do that, but we do want to be able to hit both markets. What do you say, big guy?
Well, for now we can do that. Things may change in the future where I may not be around in the afternoon.
Right. But we could always do it during your lunchtime.
Depends. I don't know. I don't know. But the goal here is to have fun, to give out information that is helpful to everybody. They can learn and maybe apply it and change their lives a little bit. Okay.
Right.
So that being said, thank you for Final Step International, right, where we make sense of your life to empower you to move forward without hesitation. That's the whole goal, is to get you to see why you do what you do. An example of this, not a client, but a prospect. And when a prospect wants me to help her with her marriage, and a prospect tells me she had a perfect life, and I ask her what that looks like, all right, and she can't tell me. Then I ask her I wanted to ask her, if your life was so perfect, why would you pick a guy who goes out on you constantly? I wanted to say that, but had to bite my tongue.
By going out, what is it exactly that you mean?
He's catting. Is it called catting? Is that called catting?
It's not the same thing.
Oh, it's not the same thing. But he's got a side piece. What do they call that? A side piece. Several. I've done it many times. And so this is where that denial of how you grew up comes into play. Okay. And was our life really that perfect? Or otherwise, why would we put up with it for so long? Why would we even shoot? I know women who say, well, you do that once, you're done.
And how many times has he done it to her?
Maybe half a dozen or more. Just
different women.
Yeah.
And why did he do it? Or why does he do it?
You can't ask that. I didn't want to get into that, but the point is that he does it, but she's the one. Okay? So that just tells me how both of them do not know the childhood impact, how that's affected them, and why we choose the people we choose. I think they didn't hire me because I was getting too close already. I was like, I ain't playing. So anyway, that's going to segue into our questions today. And the question today is,
you didn't tell them who's our paid sponsor.
Our paid sponsor. Oh, yeah, that's right. That guy, Cole Haan. Okay. Yes. Yeah, the shoes that make you walk on air and you're not realizing it. How's that? Okay. They're comfortable. They're spongy. I love them. I'm like, what the heck? They're light.
They're our paid sponsors?
Yes. Well, maybe $1 or $2, but hey, we're getting there. Got to start somewhere. Okay?
We get points at Nordstrom's.
Points at Nordstrom's. There we go. Get some points. I need some dark blue. Anyway, so let's go to our first question. Okay.
First question.
We're here to give you guys some insight, and here's some interesting questions that may apply to you, that may apply to friends or someone you know. But hopefully it's helpful. So the first question is, what are the benefits or drawbacks of comparing yourself to others?
Ooh.
What are the benefits and drawbacks of comparing yourself to others? Now, how many people here have compared yourself to others? Think about it. All right, that's a really touchy situation because we tend to do that for reasons, for specific reasons. There's something we're getting out of it. Remember that? We get a need out of it. So here we are comparing ourselves to, it could be family members, it could be people we've gone to school with, it could be, what else? Family members, relatives. It could be anything that pushes a button in us that makes us go, I got to compare myself to you in order for me to do what? That make sense?
But is comparing yourself to other healthy?
Is it? That's the question. It can be. It's called the upward comparison and the downward comparison. Okay, think about that. Comparing yourselves can be very brutal because if you look at social media, right, and everybody shows what they're doing, but you're showing all the good things. Think about that. And then somebody else shows they went to this place, they got this, and they're doing this, and the family does that, and everything looks picture perfect. And you look at your life and you go, well, what am I doing in comparison to this person who's showing their right? How does that impact you? What are you doing with that? And remember, comparison to me goes back to childhood, to where we probably did not get enough back in the day. So we need to compare ourselves to make sure that we are doing better than some.
That we're good enough, right?
Better than most. Yeah, that we're good enough in a nutshell. Okay. So think about, what are the benefits of comparison and what are the drawbacks of comparison? Okay. So let's do the drawbacks. How can comparing yourself to other people be detrimental? Well, are there always going to be people bigger, smarter, smaller, this or that, or what else are people? More of this, bigger home, more expensive car, on to more places. What does that mean to you if you compare yourself to them? How does that impact you?
You're always going to try to prove yourself, or try to, what is it that they call it? Living up to the Joneses.
Yeah. Keeping up with the Joneses.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah, keeping up. Did you know that when a person wins the lottery, people within an 8-house radius will go bankrupt trying to keep up with that person who won the lottery?
Wow.
Comparing themselves because the things they're doing to the house, getting new this, more material, whatever they're adding to the house, got to keep up. the reason you keep up is because there's an inadequacy that you've created in your own life that you believe is true. When you are not fazed by the success of other people, that tells me you have a pretty good foundation. And we'll talk about that on the upswing of a comparison. But let's do the drawbacks. I love the drawbacks. That's just the dark side. How many of you compare yourself to your sisters, your brothers? Okay? You know, knowing that if you did something that you're proud of and your brother or sister or relative or somebody who's close to you has not, you get a little smile on your face going, that loser, right? Or whatever you want to say, okay? Think about that. So think about the things that you've said or how you responded. Now, I'm guilty. I have a nephew who became pretty famous on a show about 10 years ago, right? You know, I worked my ass off as an actor, and I'm like, and he got this big role, and he did fine, you know, well known and all that, and all the stuff that comes with being a well-known actor. And I was upset. I worked my ass off, and right. So it lasted about a week, but I used that comparison to go, you know something, I got to go another direction. This is not happening. But thank God that's my foundation. I didn't crumble. My ego got stung a little bit, and I was kind of, they call it baby butt hurt. Baby butt hurt. I heard that term. It's millennial slang. And so, you know, I just went another direction, you know. So now I get to speak in front of people and change people's lives and hopefully people listen and go in another direction. But, you know, I get that. So the bad part of comparing yourself to other people is probably a reflection on how you see yourself. Remember, I say that on one of my, what is that called? We have that picture we have. Your behavior is a direct reflection on how you see yourself. Yeah. Right. If you are not given a great foundation, then you will compare yourself to other people to hopefully one day that you're always better than one or you are one up on somebody. It's called one-upmanship. One-upping. Yeah, one-upping, okay? If you don't up one somebody, that tells me you're pretty good. You feel good about yourself. You like yourself. You don't need this. You don't need that. Good for you for succeeding in that area. Good for you for writing 4 books. Good for you for going to that school. Good for you. Okay. Right. It's when we get that little dig in it that person, what do you call that? Did fail is that when we kind of say, too bad for them. Right. I love myself because they failed miserably. Okay, so that's something to think about. Anything to add? Exactly. Well, where are you today? Come on. Where are you?
Well, I don't know because I don't do that. I mean, I've never liked comparing myself to others.
And why don't you compare yourself to others? Let them know. Why don't you compare? What makes you different? What makes you not the comparable type?
I guess because I'm happy with myself and where I'm at.
Right.
I guess, was it something maybe the way my mom raised us? My mom have always raised us not to compare ourselves to others. Mm-hmm. That, I think I mentioned this to you, but let me cover you up because you're awfully sexy today, Mr. Odin. Since we were little, I was telling Michael, it was either today or yesterday, that my mom had always raised us to, to say, and to believe that we are not better than anybody else, but nobody else is better than us. Mm-hmm. And so that was like ingrained in our head. It was, probably from childhood, it was done to her. So, and even between us kids, we don't have that whole sibling rivalry. Is that, yeah. So, I mean, like if my sister gets a big car and, my brother-in-law or my brother, like, we have the car that we want. And it was funny because this last week, every place that we go, it's like, what would you do with $1 million? And like, we don't have $1 million. However, every time I say that $1 million, if you really think about it, it's absolutely nothing. And so Michael said, well, could you manifest this $1 million that's absolutely nothing to you?
I'll take it.
But to me, that doesn't seem to be a substantial amount of money for you to go crazy and like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. That's just not enough. So, I mean, I don't. I've never looked at my sister and said, oh, The only thing was her hair when I was little. I always wanted to have curly hair, and she always wanted to have straight hair. So that was it.
We always want what we don't have.
Yeah. But besides that, I don't. Yeah.
So this comparison thing can be healthy. It can be healthy. We can look at people who are doing the things we want to do and use that as motivation. Okay, that's a good thing. Like you know, I hang out with like $1 million speakers.
Yeah.
And I want to be like them. So I'm learning from them. I mean, they do their thing. I don't have what they have. I don't have that ability yet, but I want to learn it and be that. And you know, they're willing to teach me, so that's cool. So use it. You can use it as a springboard to where you want to be. Yeah. All right. I want to be you know, you want to be a writer. You want to be whatever it is you want to do. That's someone that does it really well, and you're not there yet. You can use that as motivation, and you're not intimidated by them having that.
Right.
You know, the real gutsy part is that you're doing it. You know, whether you fail or not, you're trying, and then that's the key. Okay, so the so the downward comparison. So that's an upward, right? We're doing upward comparisons. Upward.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Downward comparisons is where we have to use other people's failures to make ourselves believe we're better than them.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Okay. So those are the two contrasts: upward comparisons and downward comparisons. So look at yourself and see how you're comparing yourself to others. Are you grateful for what they have, and you're not intimidated, or you're not, frazzled by that, or is it a upward, you know, where you are looking at someone who has things and you are kind of grateful that they have it? You know, that's their thing. Okay, but be mindful of the downward ones. Okay, if you have a downward comparison, think about what is it about you that you don't like yourself, and watch this: who told you? Who told you about something about yourself that was, you know, inadequate? You know, you never be smart enough. You know, who do you think you are? You know, becoming an electrical engineer or going to law school or something. You know, that kind of thing.
Curses right? And spells.
Curses and spells. Man, we're back to that again.
Yeah.
Belief systems, right? Oh my God, here we go. It's just basic stuff. Belief systems, curses and spells, interpretation of events, what we do with that information, okay, and how that impacts our life. Speaking of lives, here's the next question. Okay, so we're going to segue into the next one. All right, so hopefully you learned something.
This is brought to you. Somebody is liking it today. You guys know he loves his little commercials.
By the needs-based method, right, where we make sense, right, of your unwanted behavior.
Okay? We're here to, this is self-discovery, awareness, and empowerment.
And empowerment, exactly. That's what we're all about, everybody. All right, so we're gonna do some upward comparisons. Okay. There we go. Now,
question number two.
Number two.
I totally dig this one.
Is there a benefit for having a rough childhood?
Absolutely.
Isn't that cool? We're always trying to make children's childhood safe as possible. But is that possible? So think about it. Listen to this. I've said this before. If 98% of the families in America have experienced some form of dysfunction. 96, we went down. What happened?
It's 96%. It's been 96. Only 4%.
Okay, 96% have experienced some form of dysfunction. That tells me we all have been jabbed, grabbed, labbed, stuck, poked, some form of verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, disabuse, all kinds of abuses. From one extreme to the other, we have experienced something. Okay, abandonment, these kinds of things. We all have dents in our social emotional shield. And what those dents do to us impact us how we relate to the world as we get older. So the question again is it beneficial to have a rough childhood? Think about it. Think of the pros and cons. Look at your childhood. Was it beneficial? What did you do with it? Did you grow up and make people pay for it? Or did you grow up and go, I'm going to do better than what my parent did. I'm going to be different. I'm going to do different so I can think to be different.
Okay, so check this out. So before, you know how everybody's using their childhood as a handicap, you know, so you hear everybody talking about my childhood was this, my childhood was that, and, you know, I can't move forward because of my childhood and all this kind of stuff. Well, now, because of us trying to be the helicopter parents and the lawnmower and, you know, there's all these new titles for being a good parent, they're saying that millennials have absolutely no grit. And that's true, because when something happens, they don't know how to handle it. And now the other generation, and now the global generation is like kids from
2 years
9,
old. What? 2
or is
to,
it the 2
well,
to
they're little.
18? Yeah, so they're
Little.
little. So they're not ever going to know what it is to struggle, because their parents are the millennials, and the millennials don't know how to struggle, so the kids are never going to know how to struggle. So the thing is to be able to learn with our struggles that we had. We're learning that we have grit. So now I'm really super excited about my childhood. I had a hell of a
Fuck, you should do just great. How many here out there are going to do just fantastic by that jacked up childhood you had? Wow. You never thought of it that way, did you?
No.
You're like, shit, I can actually benefit from this.
So we have to turn it around,
This
people.
awful upbringing.
Talk about mindset.
Oh, it's a mindset.
Shift our
So
mindset.
shifting your 360, baby.
So what was it? Last year, no, at the beginning of this year, I was in a training, and it said that 97% of the population in the world live in victim mode, and only 97%, and only 3% lives in victor mode. Okay, 97% of us are walking around trying to be a victim all day long. So now, if we shift that,
Wow, what a different world we live in. Wow, so victim mode tells me to be victim means you're getting something out of it. That means you've learned that it was useful for you back in the day when it was useful, back in childhood. It worked. It worked. It was needed. We get it. But when do you want to become a victor? When do you want to become, instead of what do you call the people at the night who clean the stables? What are those people called? Anyway, we want to go from that to a knight to a king.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Like back
the
in
stable
days.
boys. Well, I forget the name of that, right? Yeah, I mean, you got to start somewhere, right?
Right.
You go from a raggedy ass princess to a princess to a queen, right? Like the Cinderella syndrome. Okay.
Yeah.
We have the Cinderella syndrome.
Cinderella.
So we got to remember what shaped your lives as a child is the wiring that you needed to survive. And mom and dad would constantly argue, right? You hide under the bed or you just wouldn't be around, if this applies. The yelling, the screaming. What did you do? But here's another thing you got to remember is that you had to become aware that, wow, the world is not a safe place.
Right.
And hell, when I go out there, I got to be on my toes. If you're aware of the fact that I respond or react more excessively when a situation shows up, all because of my childhood, you can actually change it or use that to your benefit.
Right.
Well, look at the guy. If you look at, go behind the scenes of famous people and look at their childhood. What's that guy with the big face? He's big. You're one of your people you follow. What's his name? Millions of followers, very famous. He's a speaker.
Oh, Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins. Look at his childhood.
Yeah.
Oh my God, his mother did a number on him. Okay? And look what he turned it into.
Oh, this is not a good example.
Oh.
However, I just found out yesterday, because I started getting up with technology. And so we've had, what is that? Mm-hmm. Netflix and all this kind of stuff. And we literally are just learning how to use it. And we've had it for months. So the 7-year-old grandson is teaching us how to use it. And yesterday I figured out how to do the Netflix stuff. And I was watching that R. Kelly, whatever.
Yeah, child molestation series.
Right, but guess what?
What?
He had been molested from the age of 6 to 14.
No kidding.
He won't say who did it. And the same person was molesting his brother.
There you go.
So this is why he has not been molested, but he chooses younger girls because, like he was saying, it opened up his appetite for sex at a younger age.
So he's stuck at 14.
And
he's hypersexual.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so being with 14-year-old girls, to him, it's not a crime because that's his age. So he's doing what was done to him.
There you go.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
You just don't do something out of just doing it.
Right.
It usually happened to you, and you need to have that the victim experience what you went through. So now you're in power. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at all you learn here at Final Step International.
Wow.
You guys tune in.
So keep it up. So we're talking about what? Terrible upbringings, right? Rough upbringings, right? So remember, I'm going to go archetypally on you. Carl Jung, okay? We have the divine child. That's the happy childhood. Everything's great. I have that wonderful childhood.
It only happens 4%.
Right. Then we have the orphan child. We can get abandoned, right? And people don't show up. Then you have the wounded child, where certain things can happen to you physically, verbally, all right? So the wounded child looks at the world like, shoot, man, it's going to be hell out there. I am ready. And they may respond accordingly depending on how those buttons are pushed, 20, 30 years down the road, okay? If they are aware of their responses, they can change it and not respond as drastically, we'll call it. Then you have the orphan child knows, wow, people don't show up sometimes. They're very consistent. So trust will be an issue for me when I get older. Therefore, guess what? I need to be ready for that. And so I'm always on watching people, making sure, I can trust them. So these are some things you develop in those rough childhood, if you're awake to do that. Okay? And the divine child goes out into the world going, oh, nothing really happened. Like, it's safe. I don't know why that person's trying to take advantage of me. It never happened to me before at home. And they can be taken advantage of. So that's kind of the downfall of having that kind of upbringing. You can be played, as it were. All right, so some of the things to think about. Okay.
All right, now we're down to our bonus question.
What's the bonus question?
So we're doing the 7 steps, remember?
Yes.
So we're on step number 2.
Step number 2, which is
understanding.
Understanding has to do understanding all the things and experiences that you've endured and making sense of it. That's all it is in a nutshell. You have awareness that it happened. Now understand why it happened. Who are the parties involved? Okay. Having empathy for the people involved, understanding why they did what they did. Like she just said, R. Kelly, understanding that the mother or whoever the aunt did what she did, right? Where did she come from? Who did it to her? Just passing it down the block. It's that simple. And when you have empathy for someone else, you can actually take the emotional burden and the blame and shame off of yourself and go, wow, it wasn't about me. I've gotten more people off drugs on that second step by unloading the emotional burden they've carried with them because they believed they were the problem. When parents break up, what could I have done as a child? Could I have studied better? Could I have cut the grass? How more loyal can I have gotten or needed to be in my house for them to stay together?
That's the first thing kids think, is that it's their fault.
Okay? So understanding has to do with laying it all out and looking at everything that has happened to you, the experiences you've had, the beliefs you created, how you survived, what you did to survive in your present and your past and possibly in your future, and what we can do to kind of shrink it from a 10 to a 2. Okay? So that's what the understanding is about. Those are the first 2 that most people hang on for a while, because if you don't get past, we can't go to 3 unless 1 and 2 are answered. All right, and we have looked at them from every direction, so we can see, and you can see what people have on how you've navigated your life, what you've created throughout your life, and how that impacts yourself and the people around you. Okay, so that is understanding. All right, so hopefully you guys get something out of that. And I think we're winding down. It's almost 8:05 PST time. Pacific Standard Time? Okay. Forget time, forget north. This is north. Okay.
All right, guys, and send us your questions.
Yeah, send questions. Keep sending them in. I think we're halfway home. What number are we on?
24 weeks.
24.
Woo, woo.
Yeah, this is halfway.
And then let us know about the lunchtime, if that works for you guys, if you guys think that's a good idea. Bring your lunch.
Yeah.
Sit here in front of us.
Yeah. Share this with others who you think would help.
Absolutely.
All right, remember, we're here to help and empower, and maybe it'll trigger something to get some help and to change some things, because I see a lot of suffering out there. Okay, so remember, 97% of the people on the planet victims. Whoa.
Right.
Whoa. Okay, that's deep. All right. Speaking of deep, take care of yourself. Learn how to say no. Learn how to be selfish. Take care of yourselves.
Selfless.
And we'll see y'all next week.
Yeah, guys.
All right,
Have
I'm
a good
out.
night.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, to save it, click save.